Everyone, this is Jenna. It is that time of year again where we have eggs, yay! So welcome to Trout in the Classroom. I'm here at Bear Branch Nature Center in Carroll County, Maryland, and we are raising some baby trout. Check out those eggs in there. We'll get a better look at them in a bit. So Trout in the Classroom is a program for schools and nature centers in order to raise little eggs into a big fish that then gets released in the springtime into a DNR approved stream. And so we're going to go through the whole process of what that looks like. So each week I will be giving you little 10 to 15 minute clips about where our fish are at, what they're doing, and some other fun lessons and activities that you can do in your classroom with trout, or if you don't have any trout, to kind of get you excited about maybe having your own tank soon. Here you can see our 55-gallon tank, which is the standard size that you would set up for trout in the classroom, anywhere from 30 to 55 gallons. And this tank has all the things that it needs. It may look a little bare bones, but there's a reason for that. So basically, starting off, you have the tank itself, which is filled with water, and then you have this metal thing right there. That's the chiller, so that loops up and around to this machine right here. Trout like to be cold, so the chiller is going to keep our tank at a certain temperature. Right now you can see it's at 56.8 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a perfect range. We try to keep it between 55 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit for our fish. Now what's making all of the bubblers is a bubbler, yay! So basically that is helping to oxygenate the water, and it also helps to make these riffles on the top along with the filter that's providing those riffles in order to circulate that oxygen and get more oxygen into the water. Because even though fish have gills and breathe underwater, they're breathing the oxygen that's in the water. Now, I said our filter, right? So that's our outtake. That's where the clean water comes out. And then this thing right down there that has the little net on it with the rubber band, that is our intake. So that sucks in all the dirty water. It goes outside of the tank, down into our external canister filter right here. And then it pumps back up and out and into our tank. And then the other two cords that you're seeing, that long one and then this one, are to our temperature gauges. So we have our one temperature gauge here, and then our other temperature gauge is actually hooked up to the chiller so that the chiller knows when to turn on and when to turn off to keep that temperature correct. And then last but not least, we of course have our egg baskets that have our little eggs in. So right now there are 152 eggs right here in this front basket. The lovely thing about these baskets is the grates. The little eggs line up perfectly on them, and it makes it super easy to open up the lid. Let's see if I can take this lid off. There we go. And then take a top-down picture of those eggs, and then you can check off and count off each individual egg. Makes life a lot easier. Now I have another egg basket in here, over here. This egg basket, I'm babysitting some eggs for another organization until they're ready to get them. So we have 147 eggs inside of there. Typically, the trout hatchery is going to supply you with between 100 and 150 eggs for your classroom. So it's pretty exciting. They're really cute. You can actually even see their teeny tiny little black eyeballs through their egg. So these guys were picked up on December 1st, and they're hopefully going to hatch probably by Monday. They generally take about 5 days to a week in order to hatch out. And then the cool thing is that this grate works perfectly where they will fall right down below into this section. So it's super easy to see how many eggs you still have versus how many baby fish that you have. So it is the following Tuesday now. We're going to go ahead and look at what we have, which we have eggs that are starting to hatch. So it's now been 2 weeks on the dot since we got the eggs from the hatchery out in Hagerstown. And these guys are slowly starting to get bigger and bigger. It is amazing how quickly these babies grow. Let's check them out. Once your eggs have hatched, you will notice that the fish, even though they're getting darker than the last time that we saw them, they still have their egg sac underneath of them, and that's what's providing them the nutrients. So as long as they have that egg yolk, they're called alevins. Once they've absorbed that egg yolk, then they'll be into the fry stage, and at that point they'll start doing their swim up, which means they'll come up to the surface to gulp in air to fill their air sacs so that they have buoyancy and can control whether they go up in the water or whether they sink down to the bottom. So we do not have to feed these guys at this stage. Again, they're just eating that egg yolk that's still attached to them. They absorb that for their nutrients. No food needed. All right, so it has been about another week since we last checked on our alevins. So let's see how much bigger they've gotten. Oh yeah. So these little guys have now entered the swim up stage. That basically means that they have swam up to the top to suck in some air in their air bladder so that they can go up and down and be a fish and actually swim instead of just sit on the bottom of the tank. And so what this means is it is now time to feed. So it's very important to not feed your baby fish too soon. If they still have a decent sized egg yolk on the bottom of them, you don't want to feed yet. And that's because they're still eating that. And the more food that you put into your system, then that means the grosser that the water is going to get. And then your chemistry levels are going to be all over the place. So when they are ready though, you're going to feed them this really fine fish food that the hatchery will supply you with. And you're just gonna feed a teeny tiny little pinch, and you're gonna watch and make sure that they actually come up to the surface and do start to nibble that. So let's go ahead and see how hungry these guys are. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna sprinkle a teeny bit in the top. Let's watch and see if these guys come up. Yep, see how they come up to the top and they jump a little bit, eating the food. So again, it's very important to not overfeed your fish. They're actually gonna be okay if they don't get a lot of food. Food doesn't necessarily equal love as much as we like to think it does. So they're just gonna get a little pinch today, they'll get a pinch tomorrow. Now, of course, Trout in the Classroom often happens over the holidays. So if that is the case and you can't get into your school, you wanna make sure that the fish either have an auto feeder and that your water level is up really high to account for any evaporation that might happen while you're gone. It's always the best if you are capable of going into the school and checking on these guys so that they don't go a whole week to 2 weeks without anybody looking at them. All right, so the last thing that I want to leave you all with is, of course, the importance of your data sheet. This data sheet will help you keep track of everything from how old your eggs are, your fish are, their water chemistry that we'll do a deeper dive into then about how to do that, to keep track of how much you're feeding them, how big they are, how often you add your bacteria to the tank, all the different important things. So right now our little fish are 22 days old. It is December 22nd. It worked out perfectly that we got to pick up on December 1st of this year. And so these guys are growing up really fast. I know that we went through a bunch of different life stages in this video, but it is amazing how fast these guys actually do grow up. So we're looking forward to doing some more deeper dives into the different aspects of Trout in the Classroom on our next Trout Thursday videos that will come out. If you would like to contact us for any reason, maybe you have a question, a comment, anything like that, you can reach us at virtual.tic.mdtu, and that way you can talk to us about our fish and what's going on, and we can answer you then in the following video that we make. So thanks so much, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye.